Hamish Anderson, welcome to the Marketing for Business podcast.
Scotty, it's good to be here, fella. We've
First-
been talking about this for a long time.
Mate, we have. Firstly, though, you got to tell me about the jacket. Where is this jacket from?
I wear this to events, even funerals and so
Yep.
forth, because it's my loud and pretentious jacket, blazer. I've played a bit of cricket, as have you.
Yep.
And I'm a member of a few clubs, and one in particular is called the Valley of Peace.
Nice. Yeah.
Which is in the Hoonhay Valley. It's a private club. And we're 98 years old, and we organised a blazer a couple of years ago.
So good.
Yeah.
Well, it definitely stands out. I like the vibe you've brought. I was actually, while you were out of the room yesterday, I was doing a presentation to your business students and people who are doing your courses. I asked them, what should Hamish wear? I'm not sure if they asked you, but you've nailed it.
No,
You've nailed it. Hey, this is awesome. Like, we're going to have a great chat. We've known each other for a long time. I've actually, I knew you on the cricket field when you used to smack me all over the park. And then all of a sudden, you rang me up one day and said, hey, can you come and maybe put on some workshops for the students that you and Julie have? And it's been a great journey and a great insight to see, how many businesses, are out there upskilling. These are people that some of them are just starting their journey, but some of them are like, have been in business quite a while. And they're really upskilling. What do you love about that? And by the way, this audience listening here are those people that you have in your course, mate. They're small to medium-sized businesses. So I want to go into a formula that you have, and I think if you're listening to this, hold on to your hats because Hamish has a wealth of information. But what do you love about helping people in business?
I like seeing change. My main thing's change management.
Yep.
And so people turn up to do the courses. We have people who have got $30-40 million turnover companies with 50 staff.
Yep.
We've got people who are starting up. They don't even have a brand name or a tagline.
Yeah.
And they've got an idea, or they've been an employee working for someone else.
Yep.
And they're kind of good at some stuff, but they've got absolutely no idea about the wraparound of business. And so they turn up and do our course through Te Wānanga or Aotearoa. It's a 100% Crown-funded course. We've been running for business courses at Wānanga about 23 years now, and I've been engaged in them for 18 years.
Nice.
Teaching firstly a course called Certificate in Applied Business Growth and Development, which ran for 24 weeks. And another one called Certificate in Money Management, which ran for 20 weeks. And Growth and Development got scrapped. Well, actually got improved to a 36-week course called Diploma in Small Business and Project Management, which is what I run at the moment. I teach 5 lectures a week.
Can anyone apply for that?
Yes, you have to be a New Zealand citizen.
Yep.
And, you don't even have to have a business. You can be transitioning from being an employee to wanting to start up your own business, and I can help you through that.
Yeah.
My wife, Julie, my lovely wife, Julie, she teaches the level 4 course, which is Certificate in Small Business and Project Management.
Nice.
And that's probably a better fit for people who are just in that pre-startup phase and learning needing to learn the background stuff. I'm probably better in the diploma course where you're in the game.
Nice.
Some things are going well. You want to go better. Some things are going terribly.
Yeah.
You need some drastic improvement.
Yeah.
And, look, my biggest advantage is actually not my knowledge. My biggest advantage is I'm not emotionally involved in the businesses
Nice.
my students are. And, all the answers are there for people.
Yeah.
It's a jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah.
And all the answers are there, but people, they get emotionally involved in it and they don't know which pieces to pick up, where to place them.
Yeah.
And so that's what I do over, 36 weeks with them. And, there's a 3-hour lecture every week. This is not a sales lecture today. I've got enough students. There's a 3-hour lecture every week, and I do a lot of mentoring as well. And there's a couple of projects I have to work on. As I said, 100% Crown funded.
I think it's interesting from an outsider's going in there. These are business owners that are just committed to growing their business. They don't have all the answers and their willingness to learn. And I think that's, if you're going to be successful in business, you actually have to be willing to learn from other people, and you have to be willing to step inside a different room that has answers that you don't have.
Yeah, look, that's absolutely right. It's quite interesting seeing, people turn up in the first week and people change.
Yeah.
I've
imagine.
got thousands of one-line questions for people, and one of them is, what makes a successful business person?
Yeah.
And it boils down to one thing.
Yeah.
It's the way you think.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's what I try and do through education, case studies, anecdotal evidence of how people have done well, how people have done badly.
Yeah.
It's not just about saying, hey, look at these people here. They've done really well. It's also about, hey, look at these people here. Look how well they're going. Look at the mistake they made. And so, we teach all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And by the end of the course, I've engineered with all of these people a change in the way they think, which will lead to the improvement. And ultimately, I don't want to sound like a mercenary, but I probably am. It improves their profitability.
Totally.
And that's honestly what they're looking for.
Yeah.
That's what they're looking for.
Well, one interesting thing, and I really believe this, and a young girl said this yesterday, there's no failure. And I said, exactly. You either win or you learn. And I thought that was a good mindset to have, because lots of people think that failure is a bad thing because that's what we're taught at school. But failure is actually one of the keys to a business and being successful, learning from mistakes. It's even better if you can learn from other people's mistakes.
That's a key aspect that I often talk about, that the best mistakes to learn from are other people's.
Yeah.
So, you've got to have your eyes open.
Yeah.
You've got to learn stuff.
Yeah.
You don't just go forward looking at your goal and not looking at external environments around you, and also learnings you can get along the way from other people's experiences.
You have a really fascinating formula, and I wanted to talk to you about this because I think, we started talking and I listened to some of the things that you say and I'm like, oh, that's really good when you join into some of the things I'm talking about. But you have a formula, like I have formulas inside what I do, but it's F equals M plus O.
That's finance equals marketing plus operations.
And
that every business is the same. It ultimately boils down to that.
Yep.
Finance is, it's actually not finance equals, it's finance as a consequence of.
Yes.
And so I talk to people about, look, people turn up, what's your biggest problem? And they'll say lack of cash flows.
Yeah.
And I say, okay, so let's boil it all down. And it's actually, the biggest impact is their marketing's terrible or their operations terrible.
Yep.
Now, there's only one business model that exists that mathematical formula doesn't apply to.
Yeah, tell me about that.
Well, it's actually a game. Do you want to guess what it is? I don't want to put you on the spot, Scott. I'm not going to do that to you.
It's not snakes and ladders.
No, it's Monopoly.
Oh, Monopoly.
So if you have a monopoly, your marketing can be crap.
Yeah, true.
Your operations can be crap, but your finance will be excellent because you're the only offer.
Yeah.
You're the only offer to the market.
Yeah.
Whereas no one else. I'd
like power companies were back in the day.
Yeah. In New Zealand in the 1970s.
Or in New Zealand right now.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. So, look, that formula is just so apparent, and it's simple.
Yeah.
People think that, oh my goodness, making my business better is rocket science.
Yeah.
It's not. It's a couple of simple things that I work with people immediately on. It's getting over the fear of rejection, because Kiwis have that big time.
Yep.
And it's also taking the emotion out of it, and it's also doing the things that are important, not just urgent.
Yep.
Because people will always gravitate to what they think is urgent, and urgent doesn't necessarily mean important.
No.
And if important isn't urgent, people will push it to the side. I don't want to have to do that thing.
Give me an example.
Oh, look, you'll get someone who's a sole practitioner in something. They make something, right? They make woodworking products.
Yep.
And so they love it. They just love being on the tools. They love being on the tools.
Yep.
And as long as they're creating and building a large archive of products or a catalogue of products, probably a better word to say, they think they're doing great.
Yeah.
But they're not focusing on their marketing. They're creating no noise. No one knows they actually exist.
Yeah, totally.
So, you asked a question in my lecture yesterday, or the last, Scott was kind enough to give up his time. It was quite remarkable, really. And so he appeared at 3 lectures for me this week.
In 2 days.
3 hours. 9 hours, incredible. And I'm fearing the invoicing rather. And so he was talking in the lecture, and he was saying to students, what is marketing? And he brought up these things on the screen that AI generate. And people were yelling things out, and I was kind of happy because people were repeating stuff that I've taught them.
Yeah.
And to me, marketing is just one thing. It's creating noise.
Yeah.
And so marketing isn't, business isn't about, and I use two examples. Here's a water bottle, right?
Yeah.
And can I use your pen for a minute?
Yeah.
Here's a pen.
Yeah.
This is called the pen model. I love my pen. It's a great pen. I love my pen. I love my pen so much.
Yeah.
I want to open up a store that sells pens.
Yeah.
And I'm going to sell everything. I tell my family, I've got 2 kids. I'll give it back to you.
Yeah.
I tell my family, look, we're selling everything. We're liquidating because I want to start up a pen store. And it'll sell different colours, but it's pens, and I'm going to, get a lease, and I'm going to spend millions on marketing. It's going to be phenomenal.
Yeah.
Right? That's called the pen business model.
Yeah.
Now, the problem with the pen business model is it's all about me. It's about me, and there's no consideration of my customers.
Totally.
And my business model is not the aspect of I'm providing a solution for someone's problem.
No.
Now, if you can do that, that's when you start winning in business. Now, a few years ago, I was in the US. I was in San Diego, and I met this guy. I was introduced to this guy. And I said, what do you do for a living? And he said, I'm a defense contractor. And I said, okay, so what do you make, armaments or stuff? And he said, no, I make water bottles. And I said, you make water bottles? What, do you put, you've got your water bottle, do you put US Navy, Army, Air Force, Coast Guard on? And he said, it's a bit more than that. He said, we've got these space age filters. We've got these filters, they're unbelievable. He said that in troop deployments around the world, often the drinking water is undrinkable, it's tainted, it's dangerous and so forth. But and I apologise to all your viewers here, Scott. You could basically urinate in the bottle, and through the filter, it's drinkable.
Wow.
So he told me about this. Now, that is a solution to someone's problem.
Yeah.
Come back to New Zealand. The rest of the story is fictitious. That first bit was real. The rest of the story is fictitious, which I tell students. Came back to New Zealand.
Yeah.
Every once in a while in New Zealand, there's water treatment issues. So
true.
Central North Island, there was a place that, I won't name it. Yeah. This bit's true. And it was having issues, and they were trucking water down from Auckland. And it was costing millions every month. So, I've got a solution. Get have someone in the Ministry of Health and say, hey, why don't you use these?
Yeah.
I can supply you pallets of them.
Yeah.
Now, this guy, should I disclose this on a broadcast? This guy was costing about $50 for him to build it and, to create the things, just under $50 US.
Yeah.
Put the branding on it for whatever branch of the forces it was. And he was selling to the US for their military for $300, $350 US. So anyway, look.
Because it's a big enough problem, though.
Well, the whole thing, if you've got a problem, your business model is a solution to someone's problem. And if you can start thinking like that, rather than can I have that again? Yeah. Rather than just, and too many businesses that I come across who are my students,
well, they think
that they've learnt something, they've been an employee, they've got a skill set and a trade, whatever, and they just do it without thinking of who's my target audience? What problem am I actually providing a solution?
100%.
And I've said, and getting back to that mathematical formula of finance as a consequence of marketing and operations, you can be good at your operations because your marketing, you can focus on operations because you provide a solution to someone's problem, you create some noise, which is the marketing.
Totally.
People start ringing you.
Yep.
And the biggest problem is you then reach a level of your own incompetence.
Yes.
Which is,
100%.
I can't cope.
Yeah.
I need to, how many staff have you got now?
Yeah, 22.
How many did you start off with?
One.
Yeah.
Me.
Yeah. So, you ultimately reach the level of your own incompetence when you do well.
Yeah. The interesting point about that, though, as well, is the pen is a need. Like he thinks everyone needs one, but people don't want it. And that's the struggle most businesses have. They think they create something that they think people really need this. And then all of a sudden they get in business and they realize, people don't actually want this. And I, because I think, when you say noise, it's important, but it's got to be consistent noise. Because if you're only making a bit of noise for a while, then your marketing doesn't keep going, right? Let's just go back a wee bit though, like, because I get it, because I think we can talk about each of those areas, marketing and operations, but let's just talk about finance for a bit too, because I think finance from a business perspective is not talked enough about. What are some of the fundamentals business owners need to be looking at when it comes to finances? And the reason I ask this question is lots of business owners right now are getting their tax returns done, right? What are some of the better questions they could be asking their accountant or their advisor to actually get a better outcome for them in the following years?
The first thing I'd say to students, don't do your own tax returns.
Totally.
So I always tell a story, and if you don't mind, I'll use this opportunity to tell a few. So I had a student come to me years ago, and she had a coffee van. No names or anything like this, but she'd had a coffee van, and she'd owned it for about 2 years, almost 3 years.
Yep.
And she came to me, and I'd been giving a lecture on business taxation. She came to me after the class, and she was agitated, jittery and nervous. And she said, Hamish, I'm actually really worried after listening to your lecture on business taxation. And she said, look, I actually haven't declared my income. I haven't been doing anything, and I bought the van, and I'm really struggling, and now I'm really worried. And she was teary-eyed.
Yeah.
And I'm really worried that I'm going to have to pay a whole lot of tax. And it's not just the tax, it's the fines and the penalties.
Yeah.
And then when you were also in your lecture talking about, for serious breaches, custodial sentences, and I said, just relax, you're not going to prison.
Yeah.
And so I said, look, we need to ascertain a position. And she said, look, my dad, I'm not going to name him, but he was a successful businessman at a large construction company.
Yep.
And so, clever guy. She said, he's going to have a look at it. So she came back a week later into the lecture and said, oh, Dad's had a look at it. And he's ascertained a position, and without fines and penalties, he thinks I owe about $40,000 in tax.
Okay.
And I said, okay. So look, if you can give me his working papers, I'll have a look through them. Now, I used to work as an accountant. I've practiced for 35 years. I'm 58. I haven't, about 35 years I haven't been involved in the, accounting practice. And so I had a look at it, and I got that number down from about 42 grand to about 9 grand.
Oh, wow.
And I told her about it, and I said, look, I've got it down to 9 grand, but I've got an accountant, chartered accountant. I'm going to call him out. He's actually fantastic. His name's Michael Hooker. All right. He's got a practice with his father, Colin, called Hooker and Associates. Just wonderful, wonderful trust and professionalism. And so anyway, I got in touch with Mike, and he does me some favours, and I'm fearing his invoice. It's going to come the same day Scott's.
I'll tag him in those posts.
$4 million. And anyway, I said to Mike, hey, do you mind having a look over some working papers that I've done for a student on their tax position, and give me some opinion on a treatment of it? And so anyway, he looked at it, and he got back in touch about a week later, and he rings me up and he goes, "Oh, g'day, Hayne. Hey, you still remember some stuff? Yeah, it's really, really good work. I've got it down to 3.
Wow.
I've got it down to 3." And I said, "Oh, Mike, that's awesome." And he said, "No, I haven't finished. That they owe her."
Wow.
So one of the things I want to say is, hey, if you're in business and you're doing all sorts of things, don't try and do your own legal advice. Don't try and do your own accounting work. Find an accountant that you trust. And the big things about professional services, lawyers and accountants is trust and accessibility. All right? And so if you can meet those two, tick those two off, get someone on board that walks beside you. They don't need to walk in front of you. You don't want someone who walks behind you. But if they walk beside you, it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, that's great advice.
So I got in touch with her, and I told her, look, I got you down to 9. He's got you down to 3. And she said, oh, I could probably afford that, holding back the tears. And I said, no, they owe you.
Wow.
And so people just don't know stuff. They assume stuff. They don't know stuff. Do well at what you do really well at, and surround yourself with people who are smarter than yourself and competent areas. And, this guy for marketing. Don't do your own marketing.
Well, I always say employ your weakness, and like when it comes to that side of things, like you're getting experts looking at things just from what they know, You know, they're in the whacking and the cracking every day of what they know. Was the business making any money though, or was it paying a wage?
Look, probably closer to that.
Yeah,
And it could have been better.
yeah,
It could have been better. It had
Yeah.
some level of scalability.
Yeah.
One of the elements that she had is that she was a nice person and very likable.
yep, yep,
And you know, and some small businesses, that's if the product's good and the person's likable and you're clever enough to be in the right places to deliver your promise, life gets easy.
I think finance is one of those areas you should pay before you're ready. Like get it set up properly. I know from experience I didn't do that in the first business, but in the second business I did. And that was a game changer straight away because my money got managed a lot better. And because of that, more money flowed a lot easier.
Can I just drop a couple of things in? And I don't want to be lecturing all your
lecture.
all of your viewers. I always ask my students, what's the single most important point in business?
Yeah. Single most important point.
I'm not going to put you on the spot.
Well, I'd make a profit.
So close, but it's a bit more blunt than that.
Yeah.
It's the precise point of time that your client's money hits your bank account. Now, I don't need this to be
No, I get that.
One with Hamish.
Yeah.
But for that to happen, several things have to happen before.
Exchange
you
of
have an offer.
Yeah.
You have to engage with the market, create some noise, and then people will engage with you and they're convinced. And then you have to actually deliver on what your promise is.
Yeah.
And then they are satisfied and they pay your money into your bank account.
Yeah.
Single most important point in business. Single most important point of business, you've already said it. Can I go back to that P
Yeah.
word?
Yeah. Profit.
Profit. All right?
Yeah.
Single most important asset of your business. Now, I know it's you, Scotty, but it's actually something else. All right? Most people say it's me or it's my staff or my machinery. Single most important asset?
Your customers.
Brilliant. It's your customers.
Yeah.
They get collected on a piece of paper or on a schedule called a database.
Yeah.
Now, that database is the single most important asset of your business because it's your current and future cash flows.
Totally.
All right? Now, cash flow is everything. And so if I can give you this analogy that, you know, if you have a body works because blood gets pumped through organs.
Yeah.
All right? Otherwise, if that doesn't happen, it shuts down. It's the same with a business.
True.
Cash flow is the blood. It needs to flow through. So if you get people realizing what the key drivers are deeply, but simply that, hey, I've got to do the things which generate cash flow. I've got to do the things which are important, not just appear to be urgent. I've got to do the things that are important, not just the things that I love doing, which actually might be working against my business being successful. And a lot of people do that.
So true. I talked about yesterday owning your own sandpit. That's kind of like what we're talking about here, is right, building that database. Because I like how you put it though. Like that's the asset of the business and your future cash flow. You know.
Well, if someone's buying the business, you know, I've been involved in a lot of business acquisition. And so, you know, when someone would do a valuation on business, I'd do my own valuation on business. And I would look basically at the cash flows and the net asset backing, and then I would have a factorization of that, and that would work out the purchase price, the premium on the price. So if people have two paths in business, all right? The two paths are cash flows in perpetuity, which means, hey, I'll run my business, and when I'm bored with it, someone else can run it, but I'll still own it, or building an asset to sell. So if you're building an asset to sell, you don't just want to say the next day, oh, I'm going to sell my business. You want to actually spend 2 or 3 years possibly on building it to sell, and so the profitability looks great. Because the biggest part of the valuation is the cash flows and the profitability. Someone's buying future cash flows.
Totally. So if you are looking to sell, you should be preparing that so it'll look years out. Yeah. And that may mean stopping doing some of the things that you were doing. Yeah. You know, some of those trips or some of that money you were putting in.
All of those trips.
Yeah. Or that other stuff that you were, like.
And the widescreen TVs and the new car every year.
Yeah. Interesting though, isn't it? Like, you know, like there's so many facets to business, but when you break it down, you've got your finance, marketing, and operations.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
There is actually nothing that exists in business outside of that formula.
What about people though? Where do the people? Like,
well, they fit into those 3 areas.
Into those 3
Human
areas.
resource, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you have human resource in marketing, you'll have human resource in operations.
What do you reckon is the
Finance actually fits, the finance team fits into operations.
What do you reckon is the hardest part for, I think you've had over 5,000 something odd students, and as you say, they're from all walks of life, from, big businesses to just starting out. What are some of the common threads when it comes to what are the hardest thing? What are the hardest areas for business owners? Is it marketing? Is it operations? Or is it the finance? What have you seen? Or is that just too broad?
Yeah, well, yeah, my response can be broad. Look, everyone's got a different story.
Yeah.
And so I spend a lot of, I'm kind of going to give you a different answer than you may be searching for. So I do a lot of mentoring of the students, lecture every week, but I spend, hours, 12, 20 hours with them one-on-one.
Yep.
Everyone has a different set of problems.
Yes.
Everyone has, some people are really good at doing what they do, but they've got some flaws.
Yep.
Some people are really, really organized, but they're a bit shit at something else.
Yeah.
And so it's a case-by-case thing.
Ultimately, what's a common thing though? Like your cash flow?
Yeah, cash flow.
And is that a mindset thing? Like, is that, what's the...
Can be.
Why does cash flow come up? Is it just people aren't used to managing money?
So there's some groups of all the students I've had, there are some people who have some sort of resistance to doing well financially, feel that they shouldn't, and they talk about imposter syndrome and things like that. Yeah. So I'm not a psychologist.
No, but it's real, right? It's real.
But I work with them on the behavioural change of attitude and so forth.
Yeah.
And so well, it's a hell of a question, and it's probably easier for me to say, look, I break it down case by case.
Yeah.
Each individual has different needs for their business model.
I think it's a good point though, because everyone brings their own baggage, for a better word, to the game, right? And like some people, money stays around with them and they're very comfortable with lots of money. Some people, as you say, are an imposter, and they think, when they get money coming in and then money leaves them really quickly as well, right? So I think that's part of it. But what are some of the ways then, like you teach business owners to manage cash flow?
Look, the first thing I'd probably focus on is improving the cash flow.
Yep.
So just making more money.
Making more money.
And, I used to teach another course called Certificate in, what was it called? Certificate Money Management. And so a lot of that was about investing and so forth. And, in this course, students work on 2 projects. The first one runs for 14 weeks. And they've got to put it using project management tools. They put a project brief together, and then they work on that project for 14 weeks. Then there's a second project towards the end of the course which runs for 8 weeks. Now it's quite common that someone, when they do their first project, it'll be about the major problems of the business, or the main problems that'll make some difference. Often the second project can be actually unrelated to the business, because they might have sorted some stuff out. And now they've got some new problems. Yeah. Now they've got some new problems because things have started going really well, and then they actually realise that, hey, I'm a tenant here, paying $80,000 a year in rent. Yeah. And my cash flows are actually quite good, and I have a really good credit rating. Yeah. And I'm only in my 40s. And so the second project is then about them investigating or doing the due diligence on buying commercial property for their business model.
I like that.
And so, look, people come with problems.
It's good to see that evolution.
During the course, it is an evolution. Yeah. It's a really good word. During the course, people start creating their own opportunities for improvement.
I love that. You talked about one of the ways to get better at cash flow is to make more money. Let's talk about that, because it's like 30th of April, May 1st tomorrow. There's lots of noise out there in the world right now, and some businesses are finding it a little bit tough. There's talks of what's going on in the marketplace with high fuel costs, etc. Let's just flip the switch and look, what are some ways people could make more money in their business right now? Because I know, like you're good at this. You teach your students this, and I think there's some fundamentals that business owners are overlooking right now.
I think you got to focus on your customer base and giving them more.
Yep.
Because, having been an accountant originally and also then getting involved in, in manufacturing and so forth, the times were ever tough. Accountants would come in and the first thing they'd do is they'd deplete the sales force.
Yeah.
They spend less on marketing and, get rid of some sales reps.
Yeah.
And it's the stupidest thing to do.
Yeah.
Accountants could do. And so I think what you need to do is say, okay, if times are tough, how am I going to do better?
Yeah.
And you need to realize if it's tough for you, it's tough for everyone.
Yeah.
Now,
I love this.
Scotty, who are the easiest people to sell to?
Well, your existing customers, right?
Right.
You already have a
Who are the
relationship.
second easiest people to sell to?
Well, they're friends.
No. Your competitors' customers.
Oh, your competitors' customers.
Your competitors' customers, because you don't have to convince them, hey, you already buy this and I make this as well, or I provide this service as well. So I don't need to convince you this good thing for you. I just need to convince you to switch.
Yes.
And so one of the things I get people to do is, some of my students, they turn up, they're actually quite good at doing what they do. But their problem is, oh, look, I'm small and my competitor's gigantic and all of this sort of stuff. And I'm always teaching my students, big competitors are the easiest people to steal from.
Totally.
Because generally, the people who are operating for them are employees.
Yeah.
And employees are not as committed as business owners. And I'm not wanting to offend anyone. I've been an employee in aspects of my life and enjoyed it.
Richard Branson basically built his companies on this model. He went after big incumbents that didn't see the gap in the marketplace. When times got tough, they cut stuff. He went right in.
Yeah.
You know,
He was very good with what's called brand halo effect.
Yep.
So he kept pushing the Virgin brand out. He saw gaps.
Yeah. Mike James probably said it best to me, Scotty. We don't market for the recession. We market for a rebound.
Yeah.
Competitors will stop. We won't. And that leaves the gap in the marketplace that you can then. So if you focus on your own, and then when everyone else pulls back, that is the time to pull forward. Because the good thing about that is, obviously, and in tough times too, marketing and advertising and sales and stuff does get a wee bit cheaper. Because there's not as many people doing that, right? So you get opportunities there as well. That's a mindset though, and I think
Human nature.
It's human nature. You really have to. One thing I'll always think about there, you have to be bold and back yourself. But focusing on giving your customers, I like that. You could just sit down and go, okay, this is where we're at. What could we do to give our customers more? And be generous. So I'm going to do that with my team. And also we're going to look at some other things around competitors, some of the bigger ones, not in the digital space, but
go after the bigger ones.
Yeah.
The easiest to steal from.
Yeah. Really, really interesting. Hey, it's 2026. You're listening to this podcast and you've probably heard of AI. So here's what I want you to do. We've created a free playbook that'll actually help you with AI and help your business get recommended. So all you need to do is go to the show notes or the link that's in this video, and I'll send you this playbook for free. What else should a business owner be doing to in a tougher time really dig in?
Look, from coming from an accounting background, I could make simple but stupid statements. Oh, look at costs. Look at costs. Cut costs. Cut costs. There might be some costs that you have that maybe you can remove or make smaller, but don't just fall into that mistake.
Yeah.
Your focus needs to be driving revenues.
Yeah.
Do everything you can to drive revenues more.
Yeah.
So I don't know, the simple thing, maybe work harder.
Yeah.
Work smarter.
Yeah.
You shouldn't wake up in the morning and go, oh, I want to be rich, right? That does nothing for you.
No. You
need to wake up in the morning and say, I want to put 2 new names on my database today.
Yeah.
I want to reach out and start a process, because not all business is quick. Some of the best successes I've had in business with penetrating and picking up some big accounts in my previous employed life would take 8 or 9 months. And it just to penetrate where there's a pre-existing relationship with your competitors and some customers you want takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
But if you keep at it,
Yeah.
You keep at it. And there's a word, and, you'll always know who my students have been because, the biggest R word is relentless.
Yeah.
You need to be relentless.
Yeah.
And one of the most common things when you said before, and I answered with cash flows, and this applies to everyone,
Yep.
myself included.
Mm.
People can be lazy.
Yeah.
You've got to realize what your laziness does to you.
Yep.
I'm not talking about you sleep less and you
No.
work
I get
harder, but
this.
Work smarter.
Yeah.
And stop doing the stuff you like doing that works against you.
Yeah.
And start doing stuff. And some people say, yeah, no, I hear Hamish, but and I've heard words like naff. I think that's naff and so forth. You need to hypnotize or train your mind to realize, hey, I've got to find the enjoyment of doing this.
Yeah.
I had a student who, and this is probably timely to talk about it now. I had a student years ago, a lovely lady. I won't talk about her business or names or anything like that. But she had a business. She had about 8 or 9 staff, and it was a trade-based business.
Mm-hmm.
And they were suffering cash flow problems. Their profitability was excellent, but they had cash flow problems. And the terrible thing from that is every time she did the GST return, she had huge GST bills, but never had any cash flow.
Yeah, money.
And so the issue was she was trying to juggle too much of running the business. She wasn't out there selling hours and product, what her team were. And so, did some analysis with her and so forth. And it came down to her billing model.
Yep.
She was the standard 20th of the month following date of invoice. Yep. All right. Which is not law.
Yep.
It's not embedded in any formal law. It actually is a folklore. And so it actually goes back to since 16th century European farming economics.
Wow.
And so when Europeans came to New Zealand, primarily came here for farming, and it was seasonality and cycles, and that's where the 20th of the month following date of invoice comes from.
Classic.
And so, but a lot of people have got into business and they heard their dad talk about it or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just madness because you're effectively saying, hey, I'll do something for you.
Yeah.
And you could have, depending if it's on the first day of a month and if there's 31 days in the month, I'm giving you 51-day free credit.
Yeah.
Now, you think about if you have a business, she was giving people potentially 51 days free credit. She had 8 or 9 staff, and quite a few cash outgoings, but on paper it looked profitable.
Yes.
So the cash flow management was horrific.
Yeah.
So what we needed to do is, I didn't do it for her, but my advice for her was she needed to change her credit policy. She and her husband had been operating for quite a long time. They had a good customer base.
Yep.
All right. They're always busy. And so they actually moved it from 20th of the month following date of invoicing. They changed it to 14 days.
Nice.
From date of invoice. So it halved it.
So good.
Then the next thing she did is she had to change the operational behaviour of her staff, who at the end of the week would give the working papers so she could do all the invoicing. She would basically do the invoicing 1 day a month.
1 day a month.
It was disastrous.
Yeah. Catch up.
So my advice is that you have got to bring another person into your management team who is either their role is just completely do the invoicing, right? Because she was trying to balance too much.
Yes.
I don't want to say too much, but her husband had to sort of sit back for a bit.
Yep.
And she was taking on his role as well.
Oh, wow.
And so bringing back the credit terms from 51 days to 14 days, invoicing daily.
Yeah, nice.
And so, you might have, back in, this story is like 14, 15 years old, but she might have had to spend, 48,000, I think it might have been for someone 15 years ago to do that role. But the cash flows improved significantly. They're always profitable.
Yeah.
And this is the problem. If you're profitable, you pay tax.
Yeah.
Whether you've got the money in your bank account or not, you pay tax. She was constantly on the phone to the IRD cutting deals. Now, she was a good operator in the respect that if she made a promise, she always delivered on it. And she'd often, and I've got to stop hitting the microphone, she'd often, pull wealth out of her back pocket to service the business's cash flow shortfalls.
I like what you said though. Like I learned a saying a long time ago: small hinges swing big doors.
Yeah, I love that too.
And honestly, that is a small hinge that swings a big door that any business could do, right?
Absolutely.
Like you change what's always been done, because it's like that. Have you ever heard the story about the ham in the oven?
No.
There's a real folklore story about the ham in the oven, and so what used to happen is people would come around for dinner and the both ends of the ham would have been cut off, and then one day someone asked, well, why is the ends cut off? And grandma was there and said, well, that's how grandma used to do it. Her mother used to do it. So they thought, well, let's ring great granny. So they rang great granny, and great granny answered the phone, and they asked her about the ham. She goes, well, my oven was too small to fit a whole ham in, so I cut the ends of the ham off. But that's the way it had gone passed down. It's kind of like, I didn't know about the 20th of the month, like it's just been passed down, so a small hinge, if you are in that position, that's something you can do straight away, right?
Absolutely. And you mentioned in the 3 lectures you gave to my students this week about the small hinges swing big doors.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love that statement. And I have a slight variation in that significant change is never seismic.
Yeah.
It's small.
Yeah.
It's small and it creates big advantages.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, with my students, it's the average person who turns up to do a fully funded government Crown course, doesn't have, well, some might, but they don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars just to throw money at problems.
No, you got to be resourceful.
And so having a seismic change, which involves a lot of, capital to do some stuff, isn't an option for them.
No.
So it's the small stuff.
But
I love working with that with my students.
But also, like what you mentioned before, focus on driving revenue, working harder, working smarter. Then you mentioned putting 2 new names on your database on a daily.
Yeah,
like,
waking up.
So
every day.
Like every day you could do that though. Every day you could focus on doing that. That's 10 a week.
Yeah.
And if you have 10 conversations of people that could and want to buy your product or service, chances are you'll drop in 2 or 3, 4 sales out of that. If you just change the way you focus on that, right?
I'm laughing because it makes me, it reminds me of a story I tell people, because you're just explaining how to continuously self-improve.
Yeah.
It's just the small things.
Yeah.
And you be relentless with them.
Yeah.
And I've had students say to me,
I love that word, relentless.
Relentless, it is powerful. And so I've had the students say to me, I've been doing this is my 19th year, and I only ever came here for 1 year. But I kind of liked it.
Yeah.
And so I'll bump into someone who's been my student years ago on the street. And I go, hey. And I've got a pretty good memory. I remember everyone's names and their details. And I go, hey, how's it going? They say, oh, yeah, I just want to say to you, Hamish, I listened and did everything you said. And, things are good. Business is going well. I've got more staff. I'm driving my sales. Cash flows are strong. Profitability is excellent. But I don't see my family. I have no time because I'm successful. I hate you. And I say to them, I smile at them and I say, you're welcome. Because it was never the end of the race.
No.
It's just a part of it.
Yeah.
We had to transform you into success.
Yeah.
But success brings more problems.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned a little bit before, and I'll drop it in now, that everyone reaches a level of their own incompetence.
Totally.
Now, a lot of people who are in business on their own. You've got 168 hours in a week.
Yeah.
You cannot sell 169. You cannot deliver 169.
No.
It's only 168. And the biomechanisms we actually have to sleep some of the time. So if you need to deliver more hours, that's why you move from being a Scott Wilson of one person to a Scott and team of 21.
Yeah.
You've got to go through those phases.
Yeah. And you have to learn at each phase too. Like, I think, and that's, once again, that becomes a challenge, because I think at the same time, people can only grow as long as this and here grows, right? Because there's stresses, there's, and it's being able to handle that and keep moving forward, which allows you, because I think it's a wee bit, Someone said it the other day. I was listening to a talk, and it was a lovely lady. She'd been involved in the volcano that blew up, and she'd got her,
White Island.
yeah, she'd got her body was burnt. She's written a book. She said something beautiful. To go forward, an arrow has to be pulled backwards. And I think that's the same way in business, right? To go forward, sometimes you have to be pulled backwards. You have to learn.
Yeah.
Like these business owners, you know, and this is why I love talking with and being involved in the conversation with your business owners, because some of them are sitting in that room realizing they have to stop for a second and learn some stuff that they don't know, you know, so they're getting pulled back so they can go forward. You know, they are taking their own time to educate themselves on what they don't know. And I think that is a gift. If you can understand that as a business owner, that sometimes like one of my teams today is in a bigger room. You know, I challenged her at the start of the year, you have to be in a bigger room. If you want your future to be here, you have to go into a bigger room, because you're in a room right now where all your peers are, and that's not going to get you to there. You have to be willing to be pulled back, learn some stuff so you can shoot forward. You know, and I think that's what I love about hearing, you know, because the more successful you are, the more problems you have, right? And
Totally.
but at the same time, the bigger the bigger the problems are, the more successful you have, right? Because you become the person that can handle those problems, right? Fascinating. And this is why I love this conversation, because, you know, business owners are the heartbeat of New Zealand.
Oh, completely.
You know?
Completely.
Like, we are out there doing the whacking and the cracking, helping this country. And I know there's heaps of aspects to the country, but small to medium-sized businesses are out there doing it every day. What are some of the traits that you see when you meet someone, you just know they're going to be successful?
Golly, what a question again. Ability to listen.
Ability to listen?
Yeah.
Yeah? Nice.
Like,
talk to me about that.
Well, you say to people, hey, talking to salespeople, right?
Yep.
You say to people, what do you think the strongest trait of a salesperson is?
Yeah.
And everyone goes, oh, the ability to talk. Oh, I want to be like you, Hamish, or like you, Scott, with a silky tongue and hold an audience and, you know, all this sort of stuff. It's not the ability to talk. It's the ability to listen.
Yeah.
Because often people say no to you.
Yeah.
But in their no, there's potentially a roadmap of how you might get a yes.
So good.
So you're good. And it's not about manipulation.
No.
It's not about trickery.
Well, it's listening.
It's about listening and discovering opportunity.
Yeah.
And so I think the very best people in business are identifying opportunity all the time.
Yeah. Well, listening to understand versus listening to reply. You know, if you're listening to if you take I'm going to listen to understand here, you're going to listen for opportunities, aren't you? But if you're just listening to reply, you miss the gold. You know, I think that is brilliant advice. Like, the ability to listen.
The ability to listen.
How do you learn to listen? Because I think it's a skill that lots of people don't have.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think about my own journey. You know, I'm teaching business now, and I was not a great student at school. I was okay at sport.
Yeah.
But I had a good memory.
Yeah.
And I probably did enough to skirt around the pass marks of some exams when I was at school.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I went to university years later that something clicked. And the thing that clicked for me was that this is just sport. Because I'd always been quite a competitive person. And you know me as a competitive person. But I've been competitive, but competed at the wrong things for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
And didn't realise that important things were actually areas you could compete.
Yep.
So when I went off to varsity, and I've had two, you know, I did commerce early on, and when I did some law later, and history later on. And I realised by the, you know, and because education's wasted on the young. Now, I say that kind of sarcastically, but it is.
Yeah.
And I love to see my students are not 19-year-old kids at university. My students are 25 to 55.
Yeah.
They have families and businesses and lives and all of that sort of stuff, and they're committed. And so it's about the listening. And for me, it was once I went, getting back on track, it was about once I went to university, I realised, hey, this is sport, this is competition.
Nice.
And so find ways in your mind to compete. And, when I started working for other people, I don't know if I was a great employee. I was kind of clever, but I wasn't focused completely. I wasn't relentless.
Yeah.
I became those things when I hit about 30, I think.
Was when was the transition that you went to starting your own thing?
I always knew from my education that, that I wanted to learn as much, and this is really important. I talk to my students about it. Make all your mistakes on other people's time and money. Learn everything you can from working for someone else and making mistakes in their time and money. It doesn't mean turn up and have a bad day.
No, and make mistakes.
But it means if you make mistakes, great.
Yeah.
But make them on other people's time and money.
Yeah.
And so when you're in business yourself, and I don't know, someone had once said to me, if you haven't committed to life by the age of 32, you never will.
Oh, really?
Right? And was that person a brilliant mind? No, not necessarily.
What did they mean by that? Committed to life?
That was their own life experience.
Yeah.
But I did that as I thought, well, I'm 31 and I haven't sorted it out yet. Still got a year.
I get it. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
But then I also made a rule for myself that I need to be self-employed by 42.
Okay.
Because by 42, I'd had some GM roles.
Yep.
I'd had a lot of staff. I'd learnt some things. I was very privileged to have run a company for a wealthy Indian family that gave me opportunities that just untold.
Yeah.
And so I learnt a lot of stuff, good and bad.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? And so at the age of 42, I knew I had to be doing my own thing.
Wow.
And I was kind of brave enough.
Were you hardcore on that rule too? Was it like when you turned 42 or like was it?
I think that's another good question. I can look back now and say, no, I delivered on it.
Yeah.
But I was also a little bit scared.
You said there,
let's be honest.
but you did.
We get scared.
Yeah, you did just say then I was brave enough. Talk to me about that. Because I think that's a conversation a lot of business owners have.
Yeah.
Or starting out,
and I work.
Am I brave enough?
I work with my students in mentoring. It's, I'm not a psychologist.
Yeah.
But we'll have conversations.
Psychologist of life.
We'll be talking about things, and I'll always be asking why, and I go a bit deeper into it.
Love that.
And that brings results. That brings change in people.
Yeah. Yeah, because you make them go deeper into why, and then you go the why, and then why, and all of a sudden there's the real core, real root of what they're wanting to do. I think when I look back on even on my own journey and starting a business, I've got some advice that, hey, if you're going to start your own business, save up 6 months worth of income so you can live on it, and then go out on your own. And I did that. And look, if I'd got that advice again, I wouldn't do that. I would have got 3 months worth of money and gone because I was too. Like you end up being like risk averse. You're like, and I realized, hey, if I had less money, I would have gone out faster and been more resourceful. It's when you have more money that you don't do some of those things.
Completely resourceful. Go out with no money.
Yeah, no money. Well, that's probably look. I look at business as the ultimate commission. Like end of the day now, like we get paid because we exchange value into the marketplace. But if we don't get paid. So we are on commission. But also I believe, and I like what you said about sport, I believe business is the number one personal development game. Like the better you get with this in here, the better the game is played, and I think it is sport. It is sport. If you can take those nuances of sport, what is one thing that good sports people have? They have coaches. They don't just have one coach. They have lots of different coaches. What's another common thing? They're constantly learning, So going in and getting education on stuff that you don't know. That you can take those analogies from the sporting environment and transition them into business. Which is, I think once you start to stack all that sort of stuff over time, I was just talking to a person before, they've been in business 6 years. They're just starting to see the fruits of that 6 years, but most people don't get that far,
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Because it is hard, like who wants to work all that time and make no money. People start to should we really be doing this? And I think the people that can stay the course, they obviously are doing it because they have a bigger why. And I think that's probably some of the reasons you've been successful, right? Like you have a why, because you went there for 1 year, but then you realize I'm making a difference here.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Where do you see the future for business education in New Zealand?
Going online.
Yep. Do you think that's a good thing?
No, I don't. I've got friends all around the country at universities. One of my best mates is a professor of physics at Canterbury.
Yep.
And he doesn't have a big lecturing,
Yep.
workload. But he said that lecture theatres can often be quite empty because
Wow.
people can watch it online.
Yep.
And I kind of, I did my university, I had 2 spats at it, but, I was there firstly in the late 80s. And then I went back again and do some other stuff in the late 90s.
Yep.
And it's the collegiality.
Yeah.
And being there, it's what it creates you as a person. And I think if you're just watching stuff online when you could actually be there, I think you're missing out on a lot.
Oh.
And you know what? The particularly law school at Canterbury.
Yeah.
I have no stats to back this up, right? But my opinion is the people who don't go to lectures watch online, they never get into honors.
No.
They never get into honors.
Yep.
And I could be wrong, but I think I'm right.
We're from the Inspire Foundation that we are a charity partner with, and we do some stuff. And I saw recently the Canterbury University students for the first time went to there's a big thing over in Brussels, I think it is. You could tell those people weren't doing anything online. They were face to face in the class, and I think, yep, the universities might have the model right for them. I don't think they have the model right for the students because yep, that'll be cheaper for them to do it and all that sort of stuff. But someone's going to come in and go, you know what, we're missing the key part, which is this.
I think
face to face human whacking and cracking.
I think that I can appreciate universities' positions where they are giving the option of you can come to lectures and you can watch it online.
Yep.
All right. But I think, people are lazy.
Yeah.
People have got lazier.
Yeah.
The technology that we're privileged to have has made us lazier.
Yeah.
It has.
Totally.
And smarter.
Yeah.
Kind of. But lazier. And I'm a big fan of, you want to learn some stuff, you get in there.
Yeah.
You be around people.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
And so forth. So I'm not a supporter of mixing up online learning with face-to-face.
Yeah.
I think you go one or the other.
Look,
and through necessity, like I had to teach it for over a year because of COVID.
Yeah.
And that was fine. We were privileged.
Yes.
Not privileged to have COVID,
but
that we had the opportunity
to
it
showed us that we could do it.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean we should do it.
Yeah.
Look, I wanted to get in a bigger room probably 4 years ago. So I found a group. They're in America, into Miami. Great. If I'm there, I learn so much more about how to be better at business than watching online.
Yeah, totally.
Because in the corridor or at night at the bar or at dinner, I talk to someone and I'm asking them questions and I'm learning and they give you that one piece of that and you're like, wow, that's worth the trip. But if I'm online, I don't get that.
We've got some problems on the planet at the moment, and we all know what's happening in Strait of Hormuz and how it's affecting oil at pumps globally. And I would predict we're probably going to see a lot of tertiary education actually moving to online for this period.
Yeah.
And that could start quite quick, quite soon. Some organisations, some tertiary providers might be offering a dual opportunity, both. Some will just go completely online. And I think it's the students who are the ones who are disadvantaged.
Yeah.
Because of that. Hey, great if you don't have to drive. I've got students. Are
you talking at university level or high school level?
No, let's talk about my classes.
Yeah.
So you were at 3 of my lectures during the week. There's 70 people there.
Yeah.
And there's 2 who drive from Ashburton.
Yeah.
That's great commitment.
Yeah,
It's
that is
relentless.
that is
I've got quite a few people coming in from Kaiapoi and Rangiora. I can feel their pain at the pump
Yeah,
at the
true.
moment, and it would suit them. But
if you told me
it's a topic I didn't come in here today to
no, but
discuss.
if you
it's a reality.
if
at
you
the
told
moment.
me to do those presentations online, I would have said no.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
I'd refuse to do
the
it.
impact would have been crap.
Yeah, no, it's a weird
Yeah,
conversation.
yeah.
Like, you know, like
You're like me. You're a walker and talker.
yeah, like there's just no way I'd want to do that because the impact's not there. The learnings aren't there, and you eyeball people and you can see their pain. You can see they're trying to work something out, and you can actually help them more. You know, because that's what we're doing. We're helping people. Man, this has been a fast conversation. We've been going for an hour. What is the gift that business has given you?
That businesses or business?
No, business. But like, well, what's the gift being a tutor has given you as well? Like,
You know, I don't know.
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
There's so many things.
yeah.
Um.
Give me one.
Well, Julie and I are actually self-employed.
Mm.
We're not employees at the Wānanga.
Yep.
We're contractors.
Yep.
And so we're self-employed, and we do work hard.
Yeah.
There is no question.
No,
of that.
totally.
Like after today, I'm going home, and I've got to start market 68 pieces of assessment.
Yeah,
It'd take about an hour and a quarter each.
yeah,
Bit of cross-referencing and so forth. And that's going to be today,
Yeah,
tomorrow,
yeah.
Saturday, Sunday.
yeah.
So, give up a lot of time, but also have a freedom.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I like being with people. I love working with my wife.
Mm. Yeah.
It's hard sometimes.
Yeah.
It's hard sometimes.
Yeah.
But I like being involved in a family business
Yep.
because we run a family business within
Yeah.
Wānanga.
Yeah.
And so, and man, 18, 19 years.
Yeah.
I've been doing this.
Yeah.
And the longest career I ever had with one company as an employee was 7,
There you go.
which is actually still quite a decent haul these
Yeah,
days. But,
yeah.
in our parents' generation, I used to know Scotty's dad.
Yeah.
good
47
bowler.
years.
And, they would work.
He
in
worked
one
47
place.
years, one place, the
Yeah,
freezing works.
Absolutely.
And he loved it.
Absolutely.
He loved it. Like, and then when he got made redundant, like right at the end of that 47 years, he wasn't the same. Like he loved that job. 47 years. We're 18 years is a long.
People don't work careers anymore. It's more rare.
Mm.
People perform projects,
Mm.
and I think I'm surprised I've been somewhere for 18,
Yeah.
19 years. I really am.
One of the gifts I think you have that this role has given you is the ability. You're very good at communicating and very good at distilling the complex. You've got a gift to distill the complex into things that people that your students can then go and do. And I think because you get thrown so many different questions at you, because people are doing this, they want to succeed, they can't coming up against roadblocks, and you've seen the other side of those roadblocks. So you're very good at making it very, the language very simple. Even though you're well educated, you have a gift to distill that and give people, oh, okay, I'm at A, here's the roadblock, here's B, here's the 3 things you need to do. That's the gift I see you've got.
That comes with experience. And you
Totally.
know what? I've learned that from watching other people too.
Yeah.
It was interesting in one of my lectures during the week where you admitted to everyone, hey, and you are a polished orator.
Yes.
You are really good in front of an audience.
Yeah.
And you admitted that I was really nervous the first time I came and
Yeah.
do Hamish's
Yeah.
lectures
Yeah.
8 years
Totally.
ago sort of thing. And you spoke about how you've had growth through Toastmasters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you just improve.
Yeah.
Continuous self-improvement, and you get good at stuff.
I think it's also good to let other people know that you had insecurities because they see you at
Had?
Yeah. Well, they see you they see you after like 10 years of doing it, and people can all of a sudden go, well, I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
Mate,
It's
and
relatable.
It's got to be relatable. That's why I tell the story about the toothpicks. because the people need to know that people have failed. You're not up just here because you're so successful. It's like, actually, you've failed as well. And I think there's learnings and failures. That's why, whereas I love talking to business owners. I love talking to, there's people will pay for your past. But if you don't have a past, and you're not willing to share your past, and you're not willing to share the bruises, then no one's going to pay you for that, right? Which I think is, like a cool thing. Hey, look, I saw your young fella. I was actually trying to find some information on you online, and I couldn't find anything. You're like an international man of mystery.
Well, I used to have a website.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of clients, and 5 or 6 years into doing this 15 years ago, I was doing consultancy as well. And this is not a brag, but I was too busy. So I took stuff down.
Yeah.
And so I'm not that much into Facebook.
Your young
I've got
fella,
a Facebook page, but he's a self-promoter.
like
He's
he
quite remarkable.
was doing something with belts, which I thought was
Yeah.
really, really cool.
Yeah,
That's like there's a chip off the old block there.
He's also called Hamish,
Yeah.
which tells you a bit about me. But he's a second year law student at University of Canterbury.
Yeah.
And he'll do well.
Yeah. If you weren't doing what you're doing, what would you be doing? If you started again and had another career, what would you do?
Truthfully,
Yeah.
sitting on the couch and watching Netflix.
What about cricket? Watching cricket?
I would have liked to have. My eyesight's gone. I would have liked to have behaved differently during my cricket career and taken it far more seriously.
Yeah, I think we all would have.
Rather than, Scott was a very good cricketer.
Yeah, but
I think that I would have liked a different outcome, not necessarily playing at high level.
Yeah.
That might have been a byproduct. But I would like to look back at it now and view it a little bit differently.
Yeah. No, look, I think that's one of the coolest things about sport, though. I think, and this is, we're here having this conversation because of sport.
Yeah,
we met on the sports field. We had an argument on the sports field.
We had many arguments.
Thanks to Steve Bray. Steve Bray needs to be brave enough to come on this podcast. I might send him this section. But sport,
He's a good boy.
yeah, I think sport for young people, for older people, for everyone is a great game changer, right?
Yeah, in our culture.
Totally. It really has really helped shape, as you said, like business as a sport or sport as a sport as well.
Connectivity.
Yeah. Man, this has been so good. You got any last words of wisdom that you want to share with people? By the way, I've been drinking from a fire hydrant here, and I've got stuff that we are going to do, and that word relentless is going back. I have a word for the year, and I'm going to bring back relentless for the rest of the year.
Nice. That's good. Look, I don't, I've got lots of stories that I've accumulated.
We can always do part two. It's taking me a while to get you on.
I want to get you back for other lectures too on some of your, I love that David Brailsford story. That's quite empowering for students to learn about the small hinges.
Yeah, being 1% better.
1%. That's right.
Like I learned that from the Japanese around Kaizen. And that is, it was our theme for the year probably about four years ago. We have a yearly theme, and that 1% better was a great one because everyone could just focus on that 1%. Like because everyone can do one thing. 1%. It's like yesterday, just everyone has lots of things that they're going to do, but what is the one thing? And if that guy just replies to all his reviews that he hasn't even replied to, that is one simple thing you can do.
That had a big impact on me when you gave that lecture about 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's when I came upon the term that, look, change doesn't have to be seismic.
No.
It can be very small.
Very small.
Outcomes can become seismic.
Yeah. And as you know, because people overestimate what they're going to do in that 1 year, but underestimate what they're going to do in the 5. And so that's where the overwhelm comes in, right? Because they're trying to do so much because that's what they think they should do. But if you just focus on those little things, all of a sudden they snowball together. Beautiful, isn't it? Beautiful. All right, man, I appreciate your time. Hey, if people want to get hold of you or Julie for a course, where do they go?
Well, they can ask you, Scott, but
we'll put we'll put it in the show notes. Don't worry, we'll link it up.
Just put our details for Te Wānanga and our the free business courses.
And don't be put off by the word free. These are like
You have to do the work.
you have to do the
and
work. Like, don't just turn up and think, oh, it's a free course. Like, you actually have to turn up. You have to put in your projects. You have to do the work. The good thing about
Quite a
it,
bit of assessment.
yeah, what I've seen over the last few years is a real community in these groups.
There are.
You know, and so they're coming for the content, but they're starting to come and be part of that alumni in that community. And I think that's a real strength to what you guys are creating there, which is awesome.
Wonderful.
All right, we'll put all the details so you can go and. Hey, look, if you do decide to go and do one, like as I say in the room, you need to be in another room like that. If you're in business or you're starting out a business, come along, find out, talk to these guys about it and see if it's for you. Chances are it will be, but that's up to you. You have to be bold enough and brave enough to do it. Right now, though, I need you to do something for me, and that is share this podcast. It is the 30th of April. This will come out in June, probably this one. And here's the thing. We just had our biggest month in downloads.
Wow.
It just beat our last.
Congratulations.
It just let it beat our last biggest month, which was last month, and this month's grown. But that's because of you. I really appreciate you sharing. We've actually been growing our YouTube channel as well, and that's just started to take off as well. So appreciate everyone joining YouTube. That is definitely the future. But also, share the podcast. Share it with a business owner that actually needs some help. And if you hear some things and you see us online, tag us in. Tag us in on the videos that you're seeing. But until now, go out there, have fun, take action, and as always, celebrate your victories.